Said if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Talk 447. I am Jeff Emig, and as always, I have Ricky Carmichael joining me. How are you, Ricky?
I'm good. Just, dude, it's been raining a lot here. Today's the first day I've seen the sun since I've been home. It was awesome in Orlando, but yeah, it's nice to see that sun shining today. So glad that I'm here with you to talk a little shop and give our viewers and listeners some fun things to listen to, and it's going to be a good show.
Well, before we get to all that, of course, we want to mention Fox Racing. Dude, I've got new gear, new boots. I got the Mauler helmet and boot combo, and I got one set of shift gear that it matches up with, like nice, but I've got the LE. I'm going to go pick it up today. I got fresh, icy white and chrome Fox Instinct boots, so I'm set there. At least like 6 or 7 new shift kits. So I am so dialed, but I haven't ridden in a while. So if you guys are out there, and unfortunately, if you're part of that crew that's stuck in that bitterly cold, nasty, deadly weather in the Midwest, now's a good time to go on foxracing.com and shiftmx.com and pick up some new gear. And then what's our other sponsor, Ricky?
ODI, man.
ODI grips.
Best grips and handlebars in the business.
Dude, we are pretty lucky. We've got a nice kit, and I got a brand new 125, well, 150. I got the cheater barrel on it, and brand new RC4 bend. I go with the Podium Flight these days.
Oh yeah,
instead of the CFT.
Yeah,
yep. And I think BJ might have put on some black white grips. So, do you need grips for your Cowies, some Emig Pros, or no?
No, I'm good. You sent some, or that you're some
yeah,
great employees at ODI sent some on your behalf.
I can't take credits for that. So
hey, where you coming in live from? Are you at Qualcomm today or what?
Yeah, I'm down at San Diego today. You like that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying it out because the last couple of weeks, my audio in particular has been not so good, and so we're just trying to step up our game here at Real Talk 447. So if you're listening to this on a podcast, I've got a green screen and it's beautiful shot of Qualcomm or what was the last name that it was? Well, it went through a bunch of different sponsorship names.
Qualcomm is what it was.
Jack Murphy Stadium.
It was
yeah.
Jack
So I got.
Murphy. Then it was Qualcomm forever.
Yeah. Do you know what year that was? I'm not really sure, but what a beautiful, I don't even know whose photo this is. It was off of Racer X, but I sure hope that one of these days soon, we're going to get back to packed, sold out stadiums like this, Ricky. And I haven't been to a Supercross besides Daytona. Well, that was the last race I was at last year, just before the, the shutdowns.
Yeah.
But I mean, even though the stadiums are 15,000 fans maybe last week in Orlando.
I'm not exactly sure what the capacity is, what the states are allowing or the local governments are allowing in the certain states and areas. But I can tell you what, all the fans that were there, I mean, they were extremely loud, so it was really cool to see. And you listen to the riders and they're all really amped about it. I mean, they get, very rarely do you hear the guys do an interview and not say or mention something about the fans being in the stands and what that means to them. Sometimes you take it for granted. I feel like, people do, racers do, all of us have taken it for granted, but when they're not there, like what the riders experienced at Salt Lake City last year, and then now to have, limited amount of fans back in the stands, I mean, it's cool. It's number one, it's cool to listen to, cool to see during opening ceremonies. And if you've had a chance to make it to Monster Energy Supercross race this year, and you're lucky enough that we have been to your area, you've been able to get there, then I recommend doing it. I mean, they're still putting on the rider intros and pyro. It's really cool to see. And
national anthem.
All of it, brother.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so, last week there was a little bit of controversy with the national anthem. And to me, I was going on and I was like searching and I was trying to find some videos of our national anthem. Dude, I was legitimately getting like, like emotional watching it and thinking, yes, I've been on the battlefield before, the the track and what that's like, especially when you're a young guy or when you're the champion. And Ricky, you've been part of opening ceremonies so many times, play the anthem. To me, it never gets old. Like I really enjoy that part of the night. And there's something that's very, it's just so American to do that before a sporting event. And glad to see that there was a little bit of controversy a week or so ago, but it's all straightened out now.
All good. Yeah, it's fun to see, different venues and states that we go to. Different people have the opportunity to sing the national anthem, so it's cool. But remember, who was the guy back in our day when we were racing that basically toured with us? What was his name that sang the national anthem every single weekend? What was this? You can remember him, right? Long hair.
Deep voice.
Yeah,
Oh, nah, I don't remember that.
exactly
I
who
remember
it is.
this one dude named Daniel, I don't remember his last name, but he had this like Barry White type voice, like deep, and he just killed it. It was so good. I don't know, it just kind of makes the hairs on your arms stand up and gives you that feeling of unity that we probably all need right now. And what's interesting, Ricky, is if you take let's say that there's 15,000 fans at the stadium, and I don't know, it could be 10,000, could be 20.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have no clue.
It's not a full capacity. I actually had 8 friends that were there the whole the whole
Odd seating.
Tumulty family from
Oh.
up in Jersey. They're all down in Florida this last week. So Flau and Donna and Amanda and Sean and their whole crew was there. So and they were setting up in the upper rafters there, but they were loving it and they were just so stoked to be back at Supercross. But my point is that if you had 15,000 at a Supercross and you have all these empty seats, it seems empty. But if you have 15,000 at a pro motocross event that are all like right around the fences, that seems like a pretty good number. You know what I mean? It's the same amount of people though.
Yeah.
So are the fans that are there, can you feel it? Can you hear them and feel them like you would in this picture behind me?
100%. And that was like the fans that are there, they're almost like extra energetic. They really know it's an honor to be there. You can tell that they're happy to be there. And, they're just one of the very few that were able to get access to get into the stadium and watch Supercross racing. So certainly the fan reaction has been loud, despite the lack of people that are allowed to be there. So it's cool. It's cool. And I love the reaction from the riders too. You can see how special it is to them. But what were your thoughts? I mean, it wasn't overly exciting battles for the most part. There was some good racing, but not a lot of back and forth at the front. What was your big takeaway from the weekend?
Well, it was like the beginning of a really intense chess match, right? There wasn't a lot of action, but a lot of posturing, a lot of strategy involved. Yes. It's not the time that you have to just go for broke and throw it all out there. You're seeing everybody kind of settle in a little bit. And I with the exception of Tomac having a bad start, and kind of having to ride there inside of the top 10, I thought that you saw the best riders were out there. And I mean, the top 4, and I was really stoked to see Osborne kind of get his foot in the door now, because I believe we both would agree that we felt that he should have been there already this season. But you saw that those guys, that it's game time and they're doing what they need to do to be to position themselves, and it could have gone either way. At one point, I mean, all 4 of the top 4 were like on the finish line jump at one point. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. And to your point, I love what you mentioned about, you take those top, let's just say 4 or 5 guys for talking purposes in the 450, and it is like a chess match. You're going to start seeing these guys position themselves just where they need to position themselves to make a run at the championship. So Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac, Justin Barcia, they're behind. They are behind in the rears right now, following Ken Roczen. But I feel as though like Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac, Cooper's obviously in the better position, but this is where really the cream rises to the top, and what I love is just the racing IQ comes in and positioning, and like to your point, it's like a chess match for these guys, and being at the right place at the right time. When do you attack? Knowing how many races you need to win, or at least if you're Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac, knowing how many races you need to be ahead of these guys, be ahead of Ken to start gaining back those points. And then switching gears to a little more advanced role is, do you know, if you're Cooper Webb, taking advantage of a situation where he could win, get Eli Tomac to finish second, and then put Roczen in third, then you start chewing into that points lead a little more and more and more. Like, those are the thoughts, Jeff, that I think are going through Cooper Webb's mind, going through Eli Tomac's mind. Those are the scenarios that they are looking for to try to put themselves in. And it's fun to me. I love watching that side of the racing, of the racing and the championship battle, because that is part of it.
Yeah. I mean, Tomac is 29 points down.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but it's literally, it's time for him to get in that mode where it's win at all cost. And what Roczen has done so good this year is he has positioned himself off the start every race. And he really hasn't been challenged with a bad start yet, right?
Not really. He didn't do that well. Was it the second Houston, I believe it was? And what he got? I think he got fifth, right?
I'm not sure. I'd have to
go fifth, but then he was docked. You remember he lost points for jumping on the red flag.
Mm-hmm. Or
not red flag, cross flag. So anyhow, like, that was really the only race where he didn't get a great start, and he just
fifth.
Fifth, but he got 9th place points, I think, something like that. Anyhow, but you know what, dude, that's part of it, and I think I've talked about it on the broadcast. And Jeff, I want to hear your thoughts more about it. Like, Ken across the board up until now has been the most consistent from a program all the way around. His bike looks like it's working great. His starts are the most consistent. His finishes are the most consistent. He every single piece of the puzzle, what you need to be a champion, he's the most consistent about, or has been. I do feel like Cooper Webb is on the rise, but we need to see him do what he did this past weekend, a couple more weekends in a row, tighten up that championship, and then really start to pressure Ken Roczen. But yeah, I mean, every part of his program has been the most consistent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with Webb. I mean, obviously he won the race. It's not like going out on a limb, anything bold, no bold statements by saying that, but really impressed with how he rode the race and had the pressure there, and he just made very, very little mistakes. And I tried to watch it on the broadcast. I actually watched the main event today while I was knocking out some cardio, trying to stay in shape. On that, with a lap or so to go, the only reason that Ken really caught up was because I think he caught some lappers. And did he miss the first triple? I was trying to watch it back, and there was a group of riders that Webb went through. But anyway, he got caught up, and then all of a sudden, with a lap to go, it was quite a bit closer, maybe a second or two.
I think that Cooper missed the triple before the finish line, like that little short shoot, that little section where they come right out of that corner.
He did that for sure. Yeah.
He missed that, and Ken gained up a little bit. But like at that level, and that's the thing, like guys like Ken and Eli and Cooper, they're so good at managing a lead, that it looks to us like on TV and people watching and people on the fans like, oh, he's going to catch him. But those guys are experts at managing the lead and knowing what you need to do.
Well, let me ask you this. So was Ken content with second, or was he giving it everything he had? Like, I got to win this race.
I thought like the last 2 or 3 laps, he was like, man, I want to win this thing. And you could see he was making a push. His intensity looks like it ratcheted up just a tad bit. And he started to make up some ground. But he said he was content with second. That's what he said. And you have to believe that, especially this year. And all in all, it was a good ride. If you can't win, he got the next best thing, and that's a second. It's definitely been a lot of fun to watch. Certainly has. But I want to.
Well, and we're not that many. I mean, we're not even to the halfway point yet, right?
Almost.
So, you famously, infamously, milked the title right down to the end when you had a huge lead at the midpoint, and then Chad Reed turned it on, and you got into a position that you really hadn't been in before.
Yeah.
Where he was surging and literally riding the best that he had in his career up to that point, and you were managing a points lead. Is Ken Roxon's 13 points? Is he in a place where it is management, or does he still need to be in the mode of win, win, win?
I still think it's going to require a few more wins if Cooper Webb is able to stay consistent and apply the pressure. Just because, like, I always felt like if I could get to Daytona or through Daytona and have a 25-point lead, then you could start giving away wins. Not giving away wins, but if you don't win, it's not as crucial. So you're like, okay, if I don't win, I know I can get second. So that's a loss of 3 points. And then, so you guys can do the math. So the lead isn't big enough for that now. There's too many races left. His points lead isn't big enough.
Yeah.
So no, he needs to win a couple more, or he needs to finish in front of Eli and Cooper. But I do want to.
Well, hold on. I still want to follow up on that. So what you're saying, so if you get through Daytona and you have a 25-point lead, like you said, that leaves eight rounds to go. Times 3, the difference between first and second. You can go second every race and guarantee yourself the win. And so we're a week or two away from
that
being able to start bringing that sort of strategy into play, which would be a little bit just past halfway, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts. But I want to give a shout out to Justin Barcia. I thought it was a really spectacular ride that he put in, and a nice rebound from the issues that he had at Indy 3 and the Lapper incident with Vince Friese. I do think that Justin Barcia is much improved on that Red Bull Gas Cast Factory Racing team compared to what he has been the past several seasons. He keeps rebounding, he keeps running up front. He's there at the end. He made a mistake and still was nipping at the heels of being on the podium. I mean, at one stage, he was catching the leaders.
Yeah, they were right there.
Yeah.
What do you think's different? It seems like this year, the Yamaha team, which I thought coming into the season was really primed. Dylan Ferrandis got a second at one of those events, but other than that, he's been on his head a bunch. Plessinger had a decent ride this last one, pretty good ride. I think his best ever was a 5th, and he was 6th this weekend.
That's right.
Maybe 5th. And then Malcolm Stewart had some sort of issue, and I think you guys talked about it during the race, because the first time that you guys mentioned it, after he was making a good run, he starts jumping through the whoops, and Lee Diffie mentions, "Oh, something's happened to him." I believe when I watched it that he had a big power, like big panic rev through the first rhythm section. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I expected a lot out of that Yamaha team, and it seems like, so I'm getting somewhere with this. You know how it takes me a while to build my questions, but is this from Barcia being on the Yamaha and now going to the gas is quite a bit different machine. What do you think is different or better for him?
I wish I could say, because I felt like the Yamaha the factory Yamaha effort that he was riding for the last couple of years was a good spot from the BN, but clearly he is gelling much more with the team personnel. He likes the bike, says the bike's consistent, which as a racer is huge, because when
I
the
love
bike's
that.
when the bike's consistent, you know what you got. Then you go to the races and you're able to race. You're not testing. You're not trying to dial your bike in all weekend. So I think it's a culmination of all of that.
Yeah, but so then you have the flip side is you look at Rebel KTM, which is KTM, Husqvarna, Gas are all part of the KTM group. So if you look behind the curtain, there's a lot of common parts and pieces of the machines, even though there's 3 different brands. Is you've got Cooper Webb is winning, but then you have Marvin Muscan, who during the broadcast you guys focused on him for a few laps, and he just looked horrendous. I mean, he was over jumping stuff, under jumping stuff. He was just missing his lines. What do you make of that?
I think you're seeing the after effect of not racing Supercross for a year and being out with that knee injury.
Well, hadn't it been 2 seasons?
No.
Or close to 2 seasons? Like a season and a half or something? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What do I know?
Well,
I'm not really drinking Coors Lights halfway through the race anyway, so I have
not
to go back and watch the mains.
Yeah, certainly. And then there's been times where he's been up front. Like, the crazy thing is he comes out right opening round and he's on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially not racing Supercross for over a year. And then it just really is snowballed from that in the wrong direction, and I just feel like he needs just a little crumb to get back to where we think he's capable of running. And he had that opportunity in one of his heat races at Indy, and he just made an uncharacteristic mistake to that little set of whoops. And he overjumped, like he went to triple it and then he overjumped it and the front fork sprung back and he jumped off course. And then really we haven't seen anything of him since.
Yeah, well, you really never had a time in your career where you were really mental. I did, unfortunately, had a couple of those, so I've got you experience wise with that. But I was watching as you guys were talking about Marvin, and I'm thinking maybe even Will did some sort of in-race report on it, something
She
about
did.
the bike, and I'm thinking the consistency. When you're in that position, the team wants to help. So they're like, oh, you don't like the rebound? Okay, let's change this. Or you don't like the forks, or you don't like where your front brake lever is set, or the softness of the seat isn't right. You have all these things, and it's almost like you have to stop all of that and just go, okay, just make the bike like one way and let me work through this mental stuff. Because the seat being soft or hard doesn't make any difference. The front brake lever being up a millimeter or down, or the shock having 2 clickers or more rebound dampening or not, it really doesn't make any difference, because when you're on mentally, it's like you can ride anything. But when you're not, you could have your pick of any machine out there and you cannot hit your ass with both hands.
Yeah. I mean, I was a bit like that in 1999 and 2000. 2000 was a little bit better, but yeah, for sure. And the frustrating part for me was talking about being mental and having mental struggles is during the week, I felt fine. But then when I go to the race on the weekends, I couldn't put it together. And yeah, you're changing things. As soon as you start changing things, at that point, it's out the window, because literally you're worried about the bike and how the bike is performing, rather than, going out there and racing and doing what what you know best.
Yeah.
Right. And that gets to the point with a bike that's consistent.
Like New Orleans, 1998, that race when I'm going through the whoops, I was wearing that blue and yellow shift gear. I go through the whoops and it just huck-a-bucks and I'm out. Dude, how long did I just lay there?
Oh, you laid there. I'm like, I think he's dead.
Dude, that was if I remember correctly, that was in the semi, back when we had heat semis and last chance qualifiers, and I was laying there.
When you crash, were you just like,
I just laid there with my arms to the side, and it was one of those time periods where the bike was it should have been good. It was just me. I was just mentally, I just was not in a good place. I think I did qualify through the LCQ that night though.
Have you
Were you
ever
giving me shit last week that you passed me on press day? Was that the week?
you don't want to admit it. That
It was press day. We're talking about press day.
yeah,
There's checkered flags on press day.
that you crashed in the whoops on practice day on Friday. It wasn't press day, it was practice day.
Well, the one we were just talking about was during the race. So I might have crashed. Yes. No. That was the one that I was just talking about. That was during the race. That's why it's on the, I think it was ESPN. That's on the ESPN broadcast.
Okay, well, you did the same thing on the Friday before in practice.
So that's when you passed me, is when I was on the ground, or you probably smoked. No, dude, you were so fast.
No, I think I started to go past you and you freaked out because I was on a 125 and you're on your 250 and you just panicked and started huckabucking. I looked back and you were wadded up in the hay bales at the time.
Yeah, man, that was a rough time period. That's why, I can empathize with a guy like Marvin. And granted, he wasn't bad. He had a top 10 and all that. It wasn't horrible. But just knowing how good he can ride and then watching him make these mistakes and miss his lines, and you could just tell he's just kind of also this weekend when Brayton ends up out front there and just it unraveled big time for him. What do you think was going on there?
Yeah, just one thing to another. So he's leading the race. Then he gets passed by Cooper and Ken basically within 10 feet. I don't think he was expecting that. And it was just, dude, it was tight up there. I mean, then the next thing you know, you got Osborne coming. Barsha's right there. Then you got Tomac, and then Plessinger's having an awesome ride. And I just, that track, it raced really tight. It's like you couldn't, and how the conditions were, it was, you just couldn't. It looked like it was hard to flow on there, and it got really, really challenging in the main event, as you saw.
There was a main line, and
hard, slippery, and just I thought it was a good racetrack. I thought it was good.
Before we talk about the 250 East, correct? East. Yep. Once again, want to encourage you to, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could hit the like button or subscribe, we would really appreciate that. Here we're on the Fox Racing YouTube channel. And if you're on a podcast, I forget what you have to do on a podcast, but anyway, subscribe to the show, hit the like buttons, all that stuff. We appreciate it. And encourage you to check out our sponsors, foxracing.com and odigrips.com. Tons of great stuff, great products. Ricky and I are really fortunate that we work with two great companies, and we've got some cool stuff. So check it out. So basically a wire-to-wire run there for young Jet Lawrence in the 250.
That was the kind of ride that I've been looking for him to put in. Yes, he's a rookie for the most part. He didn't have too many races under his belt last year, but he's got, I feel like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like Jet has raced enough now that those mistakes that he's made should start to dissipate at this point. Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, and I think that was a really good ride for him, especially because you had Colt Nichols, who's the points leader. He's won a bunch of races. He's kind of been setting the bar for the main events, was there and pushing, and just really he couldn't make anything with it, and so they're both riding in two different places, right? Jet's pretty far back in points now from the lead, and Colt has everything to lose, but Colt looked like he was pretty motivated to try to go and win that race also. So once again, not exciting. It was kind of tense. Not really super exciting as far as passing goes, but hey, what do you make of Christian Craig's big mistake that he had in that heat race? Well, he got lucky on that one.
Yeah, he did. He came up just a little bit short, and that, when you come out of that corner before that triple, Jeff, and that ground was so packed down, and I just think he didn't get the drive that he needed, and he didn't go down the backside of that triple, and he's just a little bit short. And you guys saw what happened. But I do want to. I mean, really a heroic ride for him. He gritted it out. It was less than perfect situation for him, but at the end of the day, he had to do that. He is still in this on a as far as the championship perspective goes. So I was pleased with and happy for him and how he was able to rebound from that, because it surely sucked. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But the crash is what it is. He was forced into a situation, and he did exactly what he needed to do. And I thought it was a fantastic ride.
What do you make of Joe Schmo? Joe Shimoda on that.
I'm a Joe Shimoda fan. I'm a Joe Shimoda fan. I love how he just kind of rides his deal, you know, and his poise, his composure, how he doesn't get caught up in other people's battles. And he's just like, if a guy's coming and the dude coming up behind him is faster, he still just rides his lines. And that's really hard to do. You know that, Jeff. I mean, yeah. I've talked about on broadcast. I mean, what are your thoughts on Joe Shimoda?
Yeah, it seems like he's gaining confidence, you know, little by little, probably, you know, just building a nice foundation. I mean, his riding is exceptional. He's super clean, you know, rides really perfect laps. It seems like he's just riding within his zone. And I'm wondering if that's going to be enough for him to ever take a win. You know, the statistics say that a 250 rider's third year is typically when they really start to peak and when they have their best year. And if he's on his second year now, and he's not missing any races, right? So he's just constantly getting the reps in. I think that that's really important for him. And, you know, whereas you take Lawrence last year, he goes out and ends up getting hurt and misses some races. And granted, he was going for the win. Two totally different riders, though. You've got Joe is on this side of the spectrum and Jet Lawrence is on this side, you know? So
it's completely different.
Oh yeah. Not even close. They ride from two different places. And so it'd be interesting to see if another year from now, if those two start to match up. You know, Joe keeps getting a little bit better, and Jet has been getting to a place where he's setting the tone also. I don't know. I've been impressed with him.
Yeah, I have too. I like your take on it, especially the difference between Joe and Jet. Completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different frames of mind for sure. But both have great qualities, and it's fun. It's fun to watch, and I think that Joe has a bright future. If he can hang it out just a little bit more and find that edge, I think it's going to help him win, to your point. But if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. Like, it's okay if he doesn't find that edge and he's not comfortable with that. Dude, he could make a great living and have a lot of success and still win some races, maybe on others' misfortune. And if things align right, if he gets a good start and some other people get a bad start, boom, he starts winning. I think he's has great opportunity. And I also think and feel like he'd be a great teammate for certain riders. Yeah. You know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of drama there. So from a factory's perspective, the OEM's perspective, that's a kind of guy that you want, a guy that's going to be dependable, that's going to put in solid efforts for you, is going to be a great guy to get in the mix to maybe help your A rider out, if you will, and Joe could still, I mean, in my mind, he's still an A rider, but yeah. You know, his chances of winning on raw speed would probably be less than, say, a guy like Jet. So if you had both of those guys, you're looking pretty good from a team perspective, right?
Yeah. So, and you know, speaking of the pro circuit team here, as we preview now next week in Orlando, we're going to start the 250 West Coast Championship in Florida.
Oh, so this is going to be good. So, I think Jeremy Martin's pissed off, dude. And I think that he has a point to prove. He's back on that Monster Energy Star Yamaha racing team. He had a lot of success at that race team, you know, in the off season or outdoor seasons, several championships. So, you know, that he believes that he should be in the 450 class on a factory efforted ride. And when I spoke with him last year before the season, yeah, dude, he's pissed. So I expect him to do really well. I really, really do. Justin Cooper as well. I feel like at the end of the day last season, that isn't where he wanted to. That isn't where he wanted to finish. So I expect a lot out of him. Jordan Smith, I mean, I know he was injured. We'll see what happens there, but we got a bunch of great rookies, Seth Hamaker, Carson Mumford, Fry, a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to look forward to.
Well, at least you guys have a week off here. So we're going 3 races here in 3 weekends. So
we got a week off between Orlando and Daytona.
Oh, gotcha. That's right. There is a bit of time off.
Hey, so we're doing this Moto Car Fight Club. Some McGrath made a post, and of all the guys that we're racing against, he just had to call me out and say he's going to put the smackdown on me.
Yeah.
Like why
Brayton was talking shit about you too.
Yeah, they got why is everybody coming down on me, dude? I mean,
trying to intimidate.
There's other people out there,
Well, you probably have, I mean, between you and McGrath, you probably have the most time on 4 wheels.
No, Deegan.
Deegan's got some time too. Yeah.
Yeah, Deegan. I think he's gonna kick. I think he's gonna.
And did I see that Christian Vandevelde is racing you guys?
Yeah, dude.
He's a cyclist.
He's like in the dude. He's it's gonna be great though. He doesn't live far from there, and he's in the hornet's nest.
What about Jeff Stanton's video this last week? Is he wanting to line up on the snowmobile?
How good was that though?
Right.
How old was that snowmobile?
It's probably about as old as he is.
Right. Yeah. So
hey,
I'm excited.
Fun fact. I'll give you a little fun fact about Jeff Stanton. He doesn't wear underwear ever.
Or like, remember like he races and stuff when we go do our RCUs, he just wears like regular like ankle high socks.
Yeah.
Too. Like no like under guard, anything, just right on
sand track, doesn't matter, just get it all up in there.
Dude, he's hardcore.
I love the guy, man. It's been so much fun spending time with him, and just like you, I think if we went back to the 90s, not to get sentimental here, but just having a friendship with Jeff Stanton and you was probably something that really didn't seem like that it would happen. But here we are.
Hey, dude, imagine he is so much fun to be around when we have time to spend with him. Imagine, and dude, that's with no adult beverages.
Yeah, we have a designated driver every time he's with us. It's great.
It works. It does work well, doesn't he? And he loves fueling the fire too.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll try to find that video and I'll throw it up on the Real Talk 447 official Instagram page of when you and Curly were having the wrestling match in the backseat. We were in Belgium.
When he took it too far, like he always does.
Yeah. Okay, that'll be the bonus for everyone listening as we wrap up this show. I'm gonna try to find this video of Ricky and his manager, one of his best buddies, J.H. Leal. Stanton's in the backseat. Jamie Dobb from England is driving. And they had WWE Throwdown in the backseat. It was awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. We love all you guys. And this is really fun for Jeff and I. We do it because we love it. And we thank our partners, Fox Racing and ODI. Grips, go check them out. We love our partners. For us, Jeff and I, this is something we don't have to do. We do it because we enjoy it. We partner with these people because we like the people who work at these companies, and for us,
most of them.
I can speak for Jeff. We associate ourselves with these brands because we like the people who work there and we believe in the companies. So we're thankful for you guys as well.
Yeah, and like you can see, like I mentioned earlier, I can't wait to get back to a Supercross. I'm gonna try to make it down to Daytona here in a few weeks, but I cannot wait for Monster Energy Supercross to look like this again, hopefully sometime soon. So thanks everybody for listening. And that's it. So as always, Andrew McKeague Band is going to take us away with this old line. See you guys.